Welcome to Faith Talks Wood podcast. I'm Tom from Mountain Valley Maker, and this week I am running solo. Will and I are doing the alternating weeks in between our episodes that we record together to give each of us a little more time with our families, and worked out well the timing this week with it being Mother's Day, and Will wanting to spend time with his wife and kids and their mother-in-laws, and me doing the same here. So this is Monday. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and I'm recording this on Monday. And Mother's Day really got me to thinking about something. The one thing about America, and I guess the world in general, but particularly here in America, we have holidays that we celebrate, one day a year. We have Memorial Day and Veterans Day and Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas and President's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day and Easter and all these different days where we celebrate one thing for one day. And most of our holidays, I think, are quite annoying. Valentine's Day and Halloween are my least favorite. I think they are 100% commercialized towards selling flour and candy. And Halloween I don't like because all the evil spirits, but it's just another day for us to waste money on candy, which does nothing for our children other than rot their teeth and make them overweight and give them diabetes. And the reason I hate Valentine's Day is, the world tells us you go buy your wife some roses, you give them to her, maybe with a box of chocolates, and in 3 days the roses are dead. Well, dead roses in 3 days doesn't represent my marriage and my love for my wife, if you know what I mean. And so that's why I really abhorred those. President's Day, I think it's awful that we teach our kids to think about the history of our country one day a year. And Memorial Day, most people don't even know what the meaning of it is. And for those of you listening, if you don't know what the meaning of it is, to remember those who died, who gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country. And the reason I like the holiday because I know what it means, but everybody constantly walks up to me as a veteran. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. And that is what Veterans Day is for. Veterans Day is the day that you thank all veterans for putting their lives on the line to protect this country. They didn't necessarily make the ultimate sacrifice like the people who didn't make it home from war, and that's why we have Memorial Day. That's a much bigger sacrifice than what I made, and I feel quite guilty when people thank me for my service on Memorial Day. And then Father's Day and Mother's Day, we're celebrating our spouses one day a year. And same thing with Easter and Christmas, we're celebrating one day. And I get that on Christmas, we're celebrating the birth, and on Easter, the death and resurrection. But as Christians, we should be remembering and living that out 365 days a year. As husbands, we should be celebrating our wives and treasuring them 365 days a year. And it got me to thinking about that, because we always do something special that one day, but what are we doing as husbands the other 364 days a year? And so what does the Word tell us about being husbands the other 364 days a year? So I'm going to dive into, it made me dig into the Word and really look at the passages yesterday and read about my duties as a husband and loving and honoring my wife all year long. And so I'm just going to read a handful of passages. Most of them are just one or two verses, and then a little longer one there in Ephesians. But the very first verse, it's always great to start off in the beginning. Genesis 2, verse 24 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife." So the one thing I will say about Mother's Day is it is a day for us not to forget our moms. In my case, my mom, but I've left my mom and my dad, and I have joined forces with my wife, and I hold fast to her now every day of the year for the rest of my life. And so I think we have to remember that. It's like hold fast to her. Don't let her go. And I am guilty of getting busy with work and chores and all the other things that us as men have responsibilities in life in life. And I should say I forget my wife. It's not like I forget her. I still know she's there. I still know she's at home. I'm coming home to her. But sometimes I get home and, man, I'm just exhausted from work. And I typically am going to walk in and give her a hug or kiss or and all. But I don't take the time. I'm so tired that I don't take the time to sit down and have a deep conversation with her and really see how her day was, because I'm more concerned about me being exhausted. And that relationship we have with our spouse is special, and we need to build into it every single day and treasure it. And so hold fast to your wife. Don't let her go. She is a special treasure. Over in Ecclesiastes in chapter 9, verse 9, it says, "Enjoy life with your wife whom you love all the days of your vain life that he has given you under the sun, because that is your portion in life." So it's telling us there to enjoy our wife every single day. Like, do we do that? Do we truly take time to enjoy our wives every single day? And I know we have a handful of ladies listeners, so I'm gonna flip the script, and y'all just apply this to your husbands, and then tell your husbands to listen to this podcast so that they could hear this message. But are we taking time to enjoy them? And I there again, I come home exhausted from work, come in from the field working. And quite often, I don't take time to enjoy my wife, to just like sit out there and be thankful that I can sit on my back porch and have a conversation with her, to hold her hand, and all the other things that go into the enjoyment of a marriage. And but it says all the days, every single day, not one day a year, every single day. And then over in Ephesians, chapter 5, verses 25 through 33, it says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." And we're going to pause right there and think about that. That's a tall task to love anybody as Christ loved the church, but he gave up everything for us. And he's telling us to love our wives as much as he loves us. And that means being willing to sacrifice any and everything for our wives. Then it continues on there in verse 26, "that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. Therefore, a man," says it again, listen to this, "therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." And man, just so powerful. And I love how that takes us back to the beginning in Genesis of how God designed it. He designed us to leave our parents and join in holy matrimony with one woman and spend all the days of our life with them. And that's just powerful, and to love them as he loved us. And that is a tall, tall task. And I must say that I don't live up to it all the time. I try, but like it talks about in Corinthians, love is not selfish. And quite often, I'm selfish, doesn't envy, and so on and so forth. But and then over in Colossians, chapter 3, verse 19, it says, husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. And so I'm probably not the only man on this listening to this podcast that's guilty of this, but I have, over the course of my marriage, particularly when I was younger, in our early years, we're getting ready to have our 25th anniversary, and so I have got much better at this. But I would speak before I thought, and I'm embarrassed to say that, particularly the first few years of our marriage, when I was just young and dumb and didn't have any common sense at relationships, I would just spout off things, not yelling or screaming. I've never really been that type of person, but I would say things without thinking that would be harmful to my wife and hurt her feelings. And then, of course, I have to humble myself and go crawling back and apologize after I thought about it and realized what I had said. But so often I would speak too quickly, and there's a reason God gave us two ears and one mouth, and it's so that we can listen to our wives twice as much as we talk to them. And so I would encourage you to sit down and have conversations and keep your mouth shut and just listen to what your wife has to say. So anyway, I did the typical. I got a card, and I don't buy flowers for my wife in the sense of getting roses. My wife loves to garden, so on Mother's Day, I always go to Lowe's or the garden center, and I'll buy a whole bunch of different types of flowers. She has a bunch of pots around our porch that she likes to put pretty flowers and stuff in, and that is her thing. She likes tinkering in the dirt and the garden, and so I'll get her a bunch of flowers, and then that way she gets to enjoy them all summer long. And so I did that, and then of course yesterday with the mother-in-law living here, we went out. We don't go out to eat very often, but me and my wife and our daughter and my wife's sister and her husband, we all took my wife's mom out, and it was nice to be able to go out and just have some time with the family. And she had a pretty good day yesterday. The chemo kicks her butt, and so it just zaps her energy. But she was a good spirits yesterday, and we had some good laughs, and it makes you really think about these verses that say all the days of our life. And because none of us know when our last day is. This week, a young lady that lived next door to me when I was growing up, her dad and my mom, they're both old, and both of their spouses died, and so I guess you'd call it senior citizen dating. I don't know, but they like go out to dinner, and they'll go see a movie, and believe it or not, go to NASCAR races. They like going to NASCAR races, but they're just really good friends, and they were both lonely and had lost their spouses, and I guess I would call it dating, even though it's not like a traditional dating relationships. It's just some old people that all their friends have passed away, and they're like, hey, we got each other, and let's go hang out and keep each other company. But this week, Bill is his name. His daughter passed away, and she is 5 years younger than me. She had some medical issues and had to go in for a surgery. And while they were in there doing the surgery, and I don't know exactly what they were doing. They didn't fully explain to me the procedure, but the surgeon accidentally nicked her colon and didn't know it. And they sewed her up, and then her colon leaked in her system. She got crazy sick and passed away. And at 50 years old, and I'm 55. I don't know when my last day is, but I feel great physically, and I feel like I got another 40 years left in me. I hope so. But the reality is it could be any of us. My dad passed away at age 51. But yeah, it's sad because none of us know when our last day is. So we need to make the most of today, not assume that we got tomorrow with our spouse, but we're here today with our spouse, with our mom, whoever, and there's people that I know that never call their mom. I try to call my mom several times a week, but take the time today because you just don't know when your last day is. And don't assume that tomorrow you can go sit on the porch and have a cup of coffee and conversation with your wife. Do it today. Don't assume that you can, take her out on a date night or next week. Do it this week. All the days of our life, and let's not procrastinate as men. But yeah, it was really just all that happening this week got me to thinking about on Mother's Day as I was sitting there reading my Bible in the morning, what's it really mean? What's it mean to celebrate your wife 365 days a year the way God intended? So, mull over those scriptures this week and think about your wife and go give her a kiss or hug, sit down, keep your mouth shut, listen to her and have a conversation, enjoy her company, and do it every day. And that's what I am going to try and be more intentional about because I have been working way too much. And I think I had mentioned I been working on my pasture. I'm trying to get my pasture prepared for getting animals on it. We're going to get some sheep, and it is coming along really well. It's a lot of work moving the irrigation and keeping it watered to get the seed and all up and established. But it's nice to see a lot of green out there starting to take over the dirt. And so really excited. The one thing I'm not excited about is the drought that we are in here in Colorado. It is absolutely crazy how low the river is in the month of May. And it's so low that they're talking about we might lose our irrigation in the month of June. Normally it goes all the way through October. And the way farming irrigation works here is they have these canals that come off of the Colorado River and go throughout the valley. And then in the canals, there are pipes that then go to what we call head gates. And each farm has a head gate where you could turn on your irrigation, and then smaller properties might share one head gate. So you might have 12 or 15 properties that are sharing that amount of water. And while we have two head gates for our property and have great water rights, the water rights are only good as long as there's water. And so if the river falls below a certain level, then all the canals get shut down and farmers will go without water to water their fields. So that means there'll be no fruit trees getting watered, which will hurt the peaches here and cherries and apricots. There'll be no irrigation for the vegetable farmers, for the hay farmers, which then, of course, affects the ability to feed animals. And so it's kind of a scary thing to think about, but I also know that it says in Psalms that God is the one that controls the clouds and the rains. He's the one that brings it down. And so I'm just praying every day that he will provide for our needs and that we will continue being able to grow our vegetables and water the pasture and proceed forward with getting some animals on the land. I'm not going to purchase any sheep until after it's well established and I see that we're going to make it all the way through summer. But yeah. So as far as woodworking, I have not had any shop time. I have, last week I went to Denver and did a big install for a national company. I did a couple fleet trucks for them. And so I left here on Wednesday, drove over and got to stay at my nephew's house and see him and his wife and their children, and then worked for 2 long days there installing these 2 box truck graphics, and then drove back on Friday night, got back late Friday night, and then had the wonderful weekend with the family, Mother's Day and all, and just basically working in the pasture and had to cut grass and stuff on Saturday. But this week I am going to be doing the grading and getting everything ready. I am going to be building a little greenhouse for my wife. Well, not fine woodworking. It will be working with wood. And I hope to get started on that in the next couple weeks. I got to go and get all the materials, and it just depends on my install schedule. But that is the next build for me. Be outside. I'm going to build like a 12 by 16 greenhouse, just a place where she can do all her starters and everything at, and then in the colder months be able to grow some lettuce and stuff inside there. But it'll be a fun little build. I'm going to build it out of cedar, and they have, I don't really know the name of it, but it's a corrugated plastic panel. And they sell thin ones at Lowe's, but if you go direct to a supplier, you could get the much thicker panels, which provides a larger airspace, which creates a warmer temperature inside the greenhouse. And they have a capping system and clips that you can mount onto your wood framing for holding it. And so it's a pretty cool system, and makes for a really nice greenhouse. So that's how I plan to build it. But and then hopefully sometime soon I'll be able to get back in my wood shop. I have just had, between installs and working on the farm, it has been more than I can handle. And of course, my wife is taking care of her mom, and so I have to pick up the tab on other things as well. But and one thing I think I've mentioned before, that I play billiards for fun. I am not any good. I just love to play, and I play in a handicap, kind of like a bowling league, except for it's for pool. And our team did pretty well last time, and so on Saturday, I went and played in a tournament with my team, and we played all day long, and ended up making it to the next round. So we'll be going to the cities tournament. I think it's June 12th and 13th. It's a 2-day tournament. And, but it was so funny. Like, I played my match and I'm down 2-0. I literally the first rack ran out and then missed the 8. Couldn't believe it. And that guy, ran a few balls, and then I had another shot on the 8. And granted, it was a tough shot, missed the 8 again. He won that rack. Second rack, almost a similar instance when I ran down and I missed the 8. I literally missed 5 8-balls in the match. I don't know why I was so nervous, and I just choked on the 8. But ended up coming back and winning my match 4-3. So, and helping us advance on, but it was quite the little adventure. But I'm excited about going and playing in the next level tournament. So if we win, then we'll go to Denver and play in the States in July. And if we win that, then we'll go to the Nationals in August and play in Las Vegas. So be pretty cool. But anyway, well, I know this is a little bit shorter episode, but I just yesterday got me thinking about how am I as a husband and a son the other 364 days a year, because God didn't call us to love our wives one day a year. So go give your wives, your moms, big hug and kiss, tell them you love them, and be intentional about loving them every single day the way Christ loves us. Until next time, I am Tom from Mountain Valley Maker.